Hey, what's up, guys? This is Foster from Inglês no Cru. Welcome to another episode of Inglês no Cru Rádio. I imagine you know what's coming. Yes, a short ad for Cambly. Cambly is an all-in-one platform for your English conversational needs. So if you are struggling to speak English, if you need someone to talk to, if you need a professional to talk to at an affordable price, Cambly can do all of that for you. It is literally just English at the click of a button. Go to Cambly.com, download the Cambly app, or download the Cambly Android app. Wherever you have apps, wherever you have internet, go to Cambly, Cambly, and use the promotional code Inglês no Cru to get your first class for free. Start speaking to humans today. That's the best way to do it. Okay, guys, let's get on with the show. Oi, fala aí, pessoal. Bom dia. Você está escutando o Inglês no Rádio. I am your host, Foster Hodge. This is your daily dose of English. Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Foster from Inglês no Cru. Today it's just me. Alexia is downstairs giving classes, so I thought it would be a good time to record a podcast about something I have been thinking about a lot recently. So recently I came across a wonderful article by a journalist whose name is Cassius Gonçalves. I believe that is his name. And the article is called 6 Reasons Why Brazilians Do Not Speak English Properly. Obviously, that got my attention. And to my surprise, I agreed with most of the things that this journalist said in the article. So the article really demonstrates some of the fundamental reasons why I think so many Brazilians have difficulties with English. So today, I'm just going to read the article, and tomorrow I'll talk to Alexia about what I think are some of the most important points. What are some of the things we agree with, disagree with, get Alexia's opinion, do that whole thing. So anyway, I hope it helps, and I hope you are having a happy week. So let's go straight to the article. 6 Reasons Why Brazilians Do Not Speak English Properly. How long have you studied English in Brazil? Have you ever had the interest to study other languages like Spanish, French, or Italian? Maybe you thought about Mandarin. After all, we are experiencing a Chinese invasion. But you arrived in the United States and you could not communicate effectively. What happened to all those many years of English study? This has been the reason many Brazilians have lost golden opportunities around the world. Some Brazilians actually realized this, whereas others were still in the dark. I was a victim as well. I found this out after living as an expat for many years. Reason number 1. In Brazil, almost everybody studies English, but nobody speaks it. A survey done in 2011 by the Instituto Nacional de Estudos e Pesquisas Educacionais showed that there were 57 million students attending primary and secondary educational system in Brazil, 34.7 million in elementary school and 9.1 million in high school. During this period, Brazilian students learned English and Spanish in public and private schools. Because of this, Brazil has one of the largest numbers of non-native English students in the world. Unfortunately, neither public nor private schools are able to educate students in speaking, reading, listening, and writing in English adequately. If you are really serious about learning English properly, you have to attend a private English tutoring institute like the English Language Center, and pay exuberant fees. In Brazil, there are around 70 companies that exclusively teach other languages with a network of more than 6,000 affiliates. Education First, a company present in 55 countries and primarily teaching other languages, as well as interchanging students to different countries, ranked Brazil 38 out of 60 countries with a low proficiency index in English. A large number of language companies in Brazil testify that the language teaching methods of both public and private schools failed. The presence of so many language institutes doesn't really help the general mindset and confidence of the man on the street concerning language education in Brazil. So, the biggest problem, unfortunately, is in Brazil, almost everybody studies English, but nobody speaks it. Reason number two, the Portuguese accent is mostly inaudible to other countries' people, so no grammar, please. Proper speaking skills. How many times have you heard Brazilians complain about not being understood when speaking English in a foreign country, although they are quite knowledgeable in English? Many, many times. This has been a reality for Brazilians. The reason for this is what I call the phonetic issue. Teachers in Brazil are not concentrating on the audible correct pronunciation of their English student, but rather on the grammar primarily. The standard of the International Phonetic Alphabet. It appears after an entry in any good dictionary and it shows you how to pronounce a word. To find a teacher that can actually teach the correct phonetic speaking skills is rare. Many good teachers never traveled outside Brazil. This can be the reason why they fail at it so terribly. Brazilians do not always realize how strong their Portuguese accent is when speaking English. Imagine an American speaking Portuguese with a heavy English accent, and you will understand. The phonetic issue is worse in the countries where English is the second official language. The biggest problem is the differentiation of accents on the syllables of words. For example, in the English word independence, accent comes on the first and third syllable, independent. But in Portuguese, it is independente. So, it will only be natural for a Portuguese speaking person to pronounce this English word as independente, which will be foreign to the ear of a native speaking person. Your conversation can be a disaster if you don't understand the correct way to accentuate the English speaking word. Another big issue, of course, is phonics. If a Brazilian teacher teaches by using phonics and not the English alphabet, the student would understand the pronunciation process much better. Reason number three, the English courses mindset in Brazil are out of date. In Brazil, students are given content to learn. They are never given the opportunity to think or find out for themselves. Students are taught grammar, and a lot of it, for years, and if they do not give up, they will eventually be taught how to speak. This is almost like teaching someone how to drive a car by showing him pictures and explaining the innermost mechanical workings of the engine for years and years, and then only he will be allowed to get behind the wheel. The natural process of obtaining useful knowledge is absolutely the opposite. Where I live, in the Middle East, language centers have classes 4 times a week. The classes are 2 hours and 30 minutes each. The students are therefore exposed to mainly spoken English for 10 hours a week. This high exposure to the English language enables the student to finish the beginning, intermediate, and advanced courses in at least 2 years. The impact on the learning process is high. Positively, many students continue speaking English outside the class, which does not happen in Brazil. It is common to see people speaking both in English and Arabic in the same conversation here. Speaking must be the priority in learning any language. Grammar should be learnt almost by accident. Many teachers may question this statement. It is, however, according to this writer, more important to be understood than speaking in a grammatically correct tongue. It is also important to understand when spoken to in this tongue, so listening exercises are equally as important. In the current mindset of teaching English in Brazil, these goals will be difficult to reach. Teaching English in Brazil does not favor the student, but it does favor the language centers. Reason number 4: Brazilians lose opportunities in other countries. Brazilian businesses are becoming multinational companies. Many of them are very important players in the economic world. Vale, Anheuser-Busch, InBev, Gerdau, BRF Foods are some with international representative offices in many countries. Unfortunately, many Brazilians lose these opportunities because of low proficient language skills. On the other hand, there are many multinational companies installed in Brazil, as the Volkswagen Group, Samsung, Nestle, and many others. Here too, Brazilians do not apply for a transfer to another country as they are only able to speak Portuguese. Brazilians are accepted all over the world as there are no political barriers between Brazil and the rest of the world. Brazilians are seen as happy, friendly, jovial people. It is, therefore, sad that they cannot use all of the opportunities given to them in international waters, and only because they're not able to speak English. Reason number 5: Brazilians have been isolated in the world because they can only speak Portuguese. I advocate the hypothesis of Brazil's isolation. It isn't legal, but it is rightful. Portuguese as a language is one of the reasons many Brazilians become isolated. Many Brazilians do not even try to travel to another country because of this. There is, however, another side to this coin. If professionals, such as teachers, students, and even in the corporate world, will want to come and work in Brazil, they should be able to speak Portuguese. Interchanging of cultures is restricted because foreigners lack the ability to speak Portuguese. Foreigners are careful of spreading their wings towards Brazil as the nationals mostly speak Portuguese and not English as in other countries. It is even more difficult if a family accompanies a professional. Schools, street signs, product labels, and other public information are in Portuguese only. Luckily, there are some English international schools in Brazil, although they are extremely expensive. The absence of non-bilingual information is a recurring complaint from foreigners in Brazil. Businesses and universities have given up trying to invest in Brazil. For one reason, all information concerning a specific area should be translated efficiently into both languages, and number 2, it is difficult to find professionals who are fluent in both languages. These professionals should be ambassadors conversing to both sides of the spectrum. The following is a rarity in Brazil: university courses in English or Spanish. Satisfied students if a lecturer should dare to lecture in English. Brazilians reading newspapers, magazines, or a business plan in English. It is exactly the opposite in Middle Eastern countries, because they are inviting the world to invest in their countries. They are exchanging in a social and cultural diversity. The result is a babble of confusion, but eventually everybody would understand in a very broken English. But it would be English. Brazilians lose opportunities. And number 6, last but not least, there is a solution for this problem. I solved my problem to learn English with personal tutoring. Ignore all other language centers. It is almost impossible to learn to speak any language fluently if you do not converse in it in a one-on-one basis. Find a good professional that already developed a method to teach peer to peer. Invest your money there. The results will be faster and more efficient than an English center. I only got to develop my skills this way, both in Brazil and where I live nowadays, because I continued studying English with a tutor. The best way, however, by far, is to go and live in the country of the language you are trying to learn, in a homely situation where no one speaks your language. I give my word you will be able to speak English in 6 months or starve. Well, that's it, guys. We will talk a lot more about this article. I think it has a lot of interesting things to say, things I agree with, disagree with, things that I would love to talk with Alexia about. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Ciao. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. If you like what we do, if you want to support the show, here's what you can do. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Android, wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps other people discover the show. And you can sign up for our VIP newsletter. So each time we release new courses, early discounts for Sound School, new worksheets, special discounts, the people on our newsletter are the first to know. So if you are interested in the things we are doing, go to inglesnuecru.com and sign up. And as always, keep up the good fight and lose well. Até já.